Hi guys, Redneck Computer Geek here, and so today we're going to be going out tractor hunting. We're going after a red MTD. The guy got a hold of me, said it's free, come take it, just grab it and run. So we're going to be heading out there to go get it. Unfortunately, I haven't finished the winch install on the back yet, so this is going to be a brute force and ignorance, just load it up. And it looks as if it's got 3 flat tires. We'll see if it's got any good parts or not. If not, we'll part out what is good and throw it up on eBay later. So here we are. Now I can tell one or two things right off the bat about this particular unit. Now when I went to pick it up, the guy told me that A, it ran last year. I actually don't doubt that. There's a lot of new looking material on a very old mower here. He said apparently his dad or somebody of that nature had it up and running, and when he pulled it out this spring that it didn't work. That I also don't doubt. The machine actually looks as if somebody was fixing it up or taking care of it. But there's one major thing that's happened, and that is when we went to pick this up, it actually rolled. It was easily pushable, the rear end rolled, and now, here at home, it won't roll. My bet would be either A, the transmission has a locked up gear in the rear end somewhere, or the brakes are apparently locked up. So we're going to throw it on the chain hoist, and we're going to take a look at the rear, pull the brake piece off, and see if we can spin the rear pulley and go from there. Alright, so obviously this is an FNR machine, and it's got the small little forward neutral reverse transmission in the rear. I've checked the side shifter to make sure that it's in place. So we're going to grab the camera, show you the underside, and poke around a bit. Alright, so if you're not familiar with an FNR right-off, basically it has this particular belt here that comes back from the engine, which goes into this variable here. So you've got your lower section here, you got your upper section here. And then this right here is your belt that goes back to the transmission. So what we're going to do is we're going to deliberately pry on it around the transmission pulley, and we're going to make sure that it's not overly tight or loose. If we can, we're going to actually kick it off and then try and hand spin the transmission pulley. Now this particular unit, you can get to the transmission pulley through the battery box, but what we also need to do here is we may need to check these brakes, because I already diagnosed that the differential is fine, and the way I did that was I lifted up the whole rear end so that both of the rear tires were off the ground and spun each tire, and they both spin perfectly fine. So we know our differential is okay. So it's somewhere in this. It also could be this shift point. This shift point here, see if we can get it to move by the shifting bracket. You should be able to push the bracket and see it move. So that would be forward. That would be neutral. And that, all the way, would be reverse. So right now it should be in neutral. But it's obviously not. So we're going to pull the brake off just to make sure the caliper's not stuck, and then go from there. Alright, so hopefully you can see this, but basically we've got one on the front, we've got the center pivot point here, and then we got the one on the rear. And your brake pucks are going to be in here where this rotor is. That piece right there. Now, I've done a how-to on this that you can look up, and I'll put it in the description for rebuilding these. And that one there is a 3/8. So we're just going to undo that and undo the other one. And right there, that whole entire transmission just moved. Hopefully I caught that on camera. So let's give this a push. And there it goes. So this brake caliper is apparently seized up internally. So we're going to have to tear that down and check it. But for now we're just going to leave it loose because if the engine doesn't run, it really doesn't matter at all. But if you were going to go and pull this off, you'd just simply undo this, and then this whole piece would come sliding off, and then you'd check this puck in order to see what condition it is. You know what? We're right here. Let's pull it off. There we go. So that folds down. There's your rotor. So there's one puck. There's our rotor. There's our other puck. This is the piece that goes on the inside where the two push pistons are. Now, on the inside of this, if I undo it, now on the inside of this, hopefully you can see it in the infrared, you should be able to see that there's a hole there and a hole there. Get in the light. There we go. A hole there and a hole there. That's where the two piston pieces go through. And yeah, right there. That one, the top one will not move, but the bottom one does. So we're just going to take this, put some PB Blaster on it, drive it back through, and then mount that caliper back on. Should be good to go. Okay, so as you can see now, we got neutral, reverse, neutral, and forward. So we can shift through all the gears and everything now. So we're going to drop it down and then we'll get to the exciting part, the engine. What do you guys think is in this thing? Put a comment down below. So here we are before we do our engine reveal. I'm sure you guys would like to go and see a few things. It looks like somebody started to take care of it. Brand spanking new springs. Battery doesn't look too old. Brand spanking new, brand spanking new. Even the seat actually looks quite nice. There's our model number. I'll take an up-close photo of that. And we've got our forward, neutral, reverse. This is how you know it's got an FNR if you see one of these. Parking brake dash. Choke. Basic ignition. Now what I found interesting was the front steering here. This tire is just absolutely done for. So is the other one. Luckily I've got leftovers from the gas powered power wheel build. But I thought this was interesting. Look at this. Yeah, that's some nice booger weld there. Like it's a whole hive of booger weld. I'll post a more up close photo. But brand spanking new bolts here. Now they started working on it in some form. I mean the stickers are nice for the shift. And you know, the rear tires hold nice. So if you haven't commented now, now's the time. What's in it? 1, 2, 3. Whoops, might have thrown that a little too hard. And the answer is a 13.5 horsepower Tecumseh. Could be worse engines. It's an interesting exhaust. At least this time there's no booger welds, at least that I can see right now. We'll look on the other side. The starter's relatively new. That looks really, really new actually. And come around to the other side here. This is never a good thing, finding it without the filter. So if you ever find them without the filter, always take the 5 seconds before you try and do anything. And try and turn it over. So we can hear it actually cycling. So that's good. And looks like he replaced this. There's a brand new cable here. Somebody started to fix it up. Some more brand new bolts. That's always nice. It means somebody was at least trying. And what kind of conditions the carburetor look in? It's relatively clean. A lot better than I was expecting. So, we'll throw this onto the stand and we'll see if it starts up on its own. Alright, so before we fire this up and let Demonic see whether it's turning or not, I wanted to show you this stick. And I'm not sure you can see that in camera, but that is like a milky brown. There has definitely been water in this engine. So, I'm not holding very high hopes, but it does seem to turn over. So we'll see what it does. Well, I don't know if you heard that, but that was a solenoid. Apparently it's in underneath the seat on this model, kicking over. Trying to kick. Alright, so we're going to do it the old-fashioned way. Grab the battery pack and slam the starter. Now, if you're going to do it this way, you want to hook up your positive side to your starter bolt first, and then use your negative side to your engine. And you also want to have your ignition set to the on and run position, obviously. So here we go. Grounding out directly to the starter. 3, 2, 1. Hey, it thought about it. Alright, so we're going to give it a little bit of go-go juice. I really should pull the spark plug and check it first, but I have a gut feeling that this will go once we get it kicked. You know those moments where you say, hey, I bet it'll work as long as I do this? I'm not going to cut the edit because I want you to see the truth of this. And around we come. I don't think it's going to do much with that disconnected. See that? I don't think it's going anywhere. Alright, well, I'm going to connect that up and we'll try it again. Alright, so while we were cleaning up the spark plug in order to be able to test the spark on this, we ended up finding something that was not nice, and that is that there is pure mouse nest coming from behind this shroud. Now, if you've seen my video about the engine that exploded from a mouse nest, you know why this is so scary. The other thing about why this is scary is that the mice love to go and eat these coil lines. I don't know what it is about the wire these are made out of or the shroud, but the mice love to eat them. So if we don't see any spark coming out of this, I'm betting that'll be our next thing that we investigate, which we're going to have to investigate anyway because mice nests just suck. So we're going to put this on here and try and kick it over. I'm going to turn the LED light off so that hopefully we can see if it sparks or not. Yeah, there was no spark there at all. I'm betting we're going to tear into this and find a mouse nest that tore into the line for this. Just to be sure, I'm going to grab a second spark plug and try it. Go from there. Alright, so let's see what's in underneath here. Alright, so as you can see right here, this is what I was expecting. I was expecting to find the coil wire and everything in the mouse nest. It actually doesn't look like it's been chewed through. It's got a couple of marks on it, but nothing too major. And this here, this is your kill wire. This goes back through. Looks like it hasn't been messed with or anything. So, either the coil's got a bad spot in it, or it could be the coil gap is way off. there we go. Hopefully you were able to see that. We have spark now. The reason being is because I had the epiphany of pulling this off, re-gapping it, and cleaning up all the contact area across this. So we've got spark. Let's see if we can throw it back together and get fire. Alright, so we tore the starter down, cleaned it up, made sure all of it is moving nice and it's happy again. So let's see what happens. Hopefully we'll get a better fire this time. Oh, so close. Let's go without starter fluid. Nope. Starter fluid it is. Uh-oh. So at this point, as it sits, obviously something isn't firing correctly. I'm going to bet the valves are way out of adjustment, so we're going to take this front plate off, pull the valve cover, and see what's going on. Alright, so we got into the overhead valve here, discovered the exhaust valve was a tad bit looser than we would really like. So let's see what it'll do now. Well, there we go. I'd say that's a pretty good indication that if we get this carburetor torn down and check a few things, it'll probably fire up. Alright, so here we are. We tore down the carburetor on the bench. I didn't tape that because these little Tecumseh carburetors for these 13.5s are like $17.95 with filter and a spark plug to boot on Amazon right now. So if it does kick over after cleaning the jets and everything, happy days. If it doesn't, well, we're going to throw another carburetor on here. So let's see what it'll do. Probably should have turned the starter off sooner. Whoops. Another successful tractor hunt. I am going to end up ordering up a carburetor and an air filter for this, and unfortunately the solenoid in the rear definitely seems to be shot. So I'll probably end up doing a how-to on the solenoid replacement later on for this particular series of MTD. Whoever in the world decided to stick one underneath the rear seat definitely is one of those engineer versus mechanic type things. Thanks guys, hope you enjoyed the video and comment down below what you think. Have a good day.